Now, you won't say this, right? You won't say that this is the best thing that's ever existed in studio sports television. I mean, the awards say it.
It's been pretty good, yeah. And I no, I won't put it over anything. I appreciate what we've been able to do, and the real, I leave that up to the folks who are watching, and it's gratifying to have people say that. And to describe it that way is, hey, this is the best studio sports show of all time, or whatever. That's great to hear. But now, is the next show going to be just that good? If somebody reads that and says, well, this Inside the NBA, I've never seen it, but they say here it's the greatest sports show of all time, I'm going to tune in tonight. It better be good. And it better not be oh, man, we phoned this one in today, or this wasn't good, or I asked stupid questions. It has to, you got to get better.
Caring like that, though, I do believe is unusual. Adults get formed, they get on with the balance in their life, and they don't necessarily hold themselves to that kind of hungry standard once they've already arrived at the mountaintop of where success resides.
There are too many good shows out there. I mean, there are good shows, and don't stop me before I say this. Okay, you're gonna want to jump in and say, a lot of guys could do what I do, and they do on a nightly basis. There are a bunch of guys out there who are great studio hosts.
Oh, wait, this is where I disagree with you, though. And I'm going to stop you. It's not even the mechanics of studio preparation.
I knew you were going to cut me off.
Well, because you're a fundamentally decent person, and it's really important in that role. You don't understand. Shaq could have screwed that all up with his sensitivities coming in. Anybody being too sensitive there who's not feeling cared about can disrupt the chemistry of that. If they're not feeling loved, if they're not being taught how to be maximum prepared. No, man, you're an unusual cat in this business. Like, that's what you're saying is not true. The mechanics of television, maybe, because that's harder than you think. Yeah, Bob Costas might be able to do the mechanics of television, but to make your teammates feel loved? Nah, not everyone can
just
do
loving
that.
them back.
But not everyone can create that environment. That's just simply untrue. Mm-hmm. You're underestimating what your gift is, what your aura is. Ernie, it's super unusual in this business to have your likability factor. 30 years on television? Nah, like maybe Pat Sajak or like game show host. No, honestly, but no. There has to be a fundamental, and this part I know is important to you. There has to be almost fundamental spiritual decency and depth residing deep in you that has lived some things and has learned the perspective of what's important and what is not.
Sure. It's the job is what I do. It's not who I am. And the job has been very good to me and my family and has paid the bills for a long, long time. Much more than I deserve, but it's my job, and there was a time in my life where the job was right here, and now it's moved into its proper place, because I think sometimes we get so driven and get so ambitious that it overtakes everything. And so it took me a while to learn that and to realize that you can be good at your job without being consumed by it.
Do you remember when and where and how you learned it?
I remember a specific incident that kind of told me, what are you doing? This was back in local TV, WSB in Atlanta. And I'm the weekend sports anchor. And they give me about 6.5 minutes, okay, out of that half hour. And on a weekend, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got Georgia football, Georgia Tech football. You got, there's more than enough to fill up 6.5 minutes. And I sat down to do my segment, and the producer notified me that she had mistimed the show. So you got 3 instead of 6.5. I said, okay, so I didn't really go off at that point, but I kind of crammed this stuff in and got off the air, and in front of the production crew, as she is apologizing to me, I got in her face. She's against the wall of the control room, and I am just letting her have it. And it was absolutely, it was off the charts vile. And I walked away proud of it. And it bugged me for years. And it bugged me because I'd never apologized for it. And several years later, lo and behold, that producer had moved on from WSB, was now at CNN. And I reached out to her with an email first and then later face-to-face. And I said, I don't know if you remember me. And she said, "Yo, I remember you." And I said, "Look, this is years late, but I'm sorry." And I said, "You don't know how sorry I am. I can't even express it. And I'm just asking you to forgive me." And she said, "I forgave you the minute you did it, because that's what my faith tells me to do." And I was like rocked. And it was really, that was kind of the defining moment that said, get over yourself, get over your job, get over your ego, and realize where this fits into the big picture. And it's not at the mountaintop. There's a place for it, but that's not where it is.
What happened between the obvious shame, what you were proud of it, and then you came to be ashamed of it and regret it? How much space is in there? Because you're, I imagine, a preparationaholic. Someone tells you that you've prepared for 6.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You're given 3 minutes. Someone has made you look bad, has interfered with your preparation.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
But
how dare you do that to me?
But that's where you could have become infected by television's vanities with a lack of self-awareness. That's where it could have happened.
Yeah, but I was already infected with it, because that was my reaction. I was already infected in it because you saw my reaction to her. Like, how dare you? And that's just so, and part of the reason it hurt so bad, because it was everything my dad wasn't. Because I learned everything from him. Everything about how to be a professional, how to prepare, all the preparation, that's from watching my dad. That's from going to the ballpark and watching him 6 hours before first pitch, doing his interviews, sitting down with his scorebook, doing his notes. I learned all that there. And so when I considered what I had done to this producer, I was like, my dad never would have done that. And I, thankfully was able to rectify that and seek her forgiveness. And how did I know she had forgiven me that moment it happened?
Why does it hurt you still the way that it does?
Because that's not me. Maybe, it hurts to, I think maybe because people think, oh, Ernie's never said a bad thing to anybody in his life. Yeah, I have. And I've been a total prick sometimes. And it takes it takes being intentional about doing the right thing and being, doing the right thing, being the right person. And not getting carried away with adulation. Because once you start getting on that train, where every good thing said about you, you're kind of like, oh, here I'm coming. I'm getting that puffed up chest again. Oh, don't mess with my show because I might go off again. No, I can't do that. That's why you just have to take all of that with, hey, it's very nice. I appreciate the fact that you like the show. I appreciate the fact you like me. And I'm not going to get carried away with that, and I'm not going to get carried away with the folks who say, man, you're an idiot. I hate you on baseball. You're this, you know. And so I think I've had to learn over the years just to take all of that in and not put too much emphasis on it.